This is the OpenRC F1 car, and this is the axle that keeps breaking on me. For size reference, here's the 3D printed axle side by side with the 2x3 Lego brick. I printed and installed the axle according to the instructions, but for some reason these axles keep breaking for me. I've looked online and I've only seen one other person that is saying that they're having the same problem, and he actually just printed it with 100% infill, and that took care of it for him. The main reason that this axle is so weak is because it's a 3D printed part. And 3D printed parts are inherently weak along their layer lines. And this part, as designed, has the build plate down here, and this drawing is a representation of the axle. And so the layer lines are running across here. And when this is installed, the wheel sits here, and so all the load is going right across the layer line, right along the layer line. The reason why it's printed in this orientation is because these overhangs don't require any support material. It makes for a cleaner part, a lot less cleanup. And interestingly enough, when this axle breaks, for me it's always been right here. I have an idea as to why this is happening, but more on that in a future video. One option to make a stronger part is to make it out of an isotropic material, such as epoxy resin. So to experiment, I 3D printed a mold. Now this mold was my first attempt, and it had some specific requirements. I wanted the walls to be thin enough that the axle could easily be removed. The mold could have a little bit of flex if it's not printed with too thick of walls. Even though this mold did not produce a usable part, it was still a success. The part did release from the mold. Granted, there was some leaking in the mold, which meant that the part was not fully formed. And also I had to break the mold in order to release it, because there was no areas to grip to hold onto the mold while trying to separate the two halves, and also while trying to take the part out of it. So those things will be addressed in future experiments. So stay tuned to see more about this.